am Kenny Anderson, Director of Multicultural Affairs for the City of Huntsville, and welcome to Impact. Each week we bring you information about exciting things that are happening right here in our community, and today will be no different. You know, with the ever-increasing diversity of our community, there seems to be a need to expand the kinds of offerings that people can actually be exposed to across the spectrum of our community. These are activities that represent the many differences among the cultures and ethnicities within our community. And there are, I think, a number of events that are beginning to bloom as a result of this desire around our community. One of those is called MeshFest, and we're going to hear all about what MeshFest is in just a moment. It is the second MeshFest, and we're going to talk with one of the coordinators of that event today. She's Carrie Williams, and welcome back to the broadcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you've been here before wearing a different hat, but you always bring a smile, so that's the main thing, and I think that's what gets you back on the show. So we're just glad to have you today. So tell us what MeshFest is.
Sure. MeshFest is a culturally diverse concert that's going to be held in downtown Huntsville, Big Spring Park. It'll be Saturday, August 27th from 4 to 10 p.m. So the vision of MeshFest really was born out of Leadership Huntsville Small Group Project from our Connect Class 17. But once we completed that commitment and held the first event, we really wanted to bring it to the Huntsville community one more time and do it a second year for MeshFest. Because we saw the most diverse audience, we had great music, great food, and it was just something that we really wanted to celebrate and encourage Huntsville to see all the different faces that make up who we are and what makes Huntsville great.
So tell me how something like this evolves, because one of the goals, I should say, of leadership is to bring different people together across the community to talk about ways that people are actually experiencing life. You talk about quality of life issues and all kinds of other things. How does that conversation emerge or evolve into a MeshFest?
Well, sure. The small group that we worked with, we had so many different perspectives and so many different personalities that we brought into it. And the one word that really kept coming across was celebrate. Celebrate or honor. And we really wanted to take that to a bigger stage. We saw how we all interacted and all the wealth of a background that we brought, and we said, well, this is Huntsville. This is who we are as a community. So how do we take this to a bigger platform? And instead of doing something that maybe just appealed to one segment, we wanted to make it fun, have music, have food, because Huntsville loves outdoor concerts. They love coming to Big Spring Park. They love community events. We see this in so many different avenues. So how do we say this is Huntsville with celebration other than an outdoor concert with music, food trucks, art, dance, and the like? So it was really looking for that platform of celebration and looking for that platform to highlight all the different facets of the community that kind of led us to a larger event such as MeshFest.
And you certainly do have all the right ingredients. I mean, food, music, entertainment, people,
Yes.
et cetera, et cetera. And that's a really cool thing. How do you come up with the name MeshFest? What does that represent?
Well, we said, look at what we're trying to celebrate, all the different cultures, and we're going to mesh them together in a festival-like atmosphere. And thus was born the name MeshFest.
Yeah. So I wonder, is this an event that, as a young professional yourself, part of that millennial generation, are you looking at this as a way to attract that population to downtown Huntsville to be able to meet some of their needs? What's some of the thinking behind that? Because I know this is open to anyone, but I'm also sure you probably have kind of a target audience that you're trying to hit as well.
We do. It is open to the entire community, and it's a free event, so we want everyone to come out. But we are targeting young professionals specifically because we see so many networking groups around Huntsville, so many entertainment venues around Huntsville. We want to give the atmosphere of a networking event that's fun, that you're meeting people naturally, organically, that you're seeing people that are like you and you're seeing people that are different from you in a really casual venue that you're able to enjoy music, food, and art at the same time. So we are targeting young professionals. We are targeting a community feel because we want to be able to use this as an offering to the Huntsville community. So when you've got your entrepreneurs, your startups, your tech industries, we're adding that element of don't forget the strength and diversity. Don't forget the strength and inclusion, and celebrate those things in all the amazing things that we've already got going on in the young professional community within Huntsville right now.
Yeah, and I wonder, what is the pulse of that young professional community right now in terms of their sense of, are we represented? Are there enough things going on? Because oftentimes you hear people, and over the years, you've traditionally heard people express a lot of frustration. I get the sense that that's changed over the years and that there's so many more opportunities for young professionals to participate in, whether it's downtown Huntsville or something happened at the Von Braun or something happening in some other part of the community. I mean, do you feel the same way?
I do. You cannot live in Huntsville and say there's nothing to do.
I agree with you on that, 100%. Don't ever say that.
Exactly. You cannot live in Huntsville and say there's no new people to meet, there's nothing new to experience. But sometimes it takes an event like MeshFest to really draw that out. The hunger is there, the need is there, and it's being met in a lot of different ways. As you said, there is a lot for young professionals to do in Huntsville. This is just one more platform that makes it a little bit bigger and a little bit more of a community space. So we're not meeting at an indoor venue. We are outside in the park, Big Spring Park, hold as many people as will come out and bring everyone together with a lot of the same initiatives that you see young professionals representing around Huntsville.
And I also imagine there's an element of cool that should be associated with this too. You know, it's kind of like there's nothing else in the city called MeshFest.
Right.
So I'm already curious about that. It's like a MeshFest, what is that? And then you start talking about there's going to be music and there's going to be food and there's going to be all kinds of entertainment and networking opportunities. It kind of gets you excited to think about it in that kind of cool sense that it's going to be the happening place.
Yes, and speaking of cool, let me tell you about the music that we're going to have there.
Please.
We've got Alabama Latin Band because we've got over 20 different Hispanic cultures in Huntsville, and although one band does not represent all of them, it's an important part of our lineup. We have Kush Reggae Band because we want to give a shout out to North Alabama Caribbean Association. We've got a band from Florence coming in, Iron Horse Bluegrass. They've got tour dates, I think, in all four corners of the country, so we are ecstatic to host them at MeshFest. And then finally, we've got Off the Chain, which will be bringing R&B and soul. We've got all of these bands together, and if you don't know about Off the Chain, we've got a musician in Off the Chain that's played for Roberta Flack, for D'Angelo. These are all local people because we've got immense talent in Huntsville, and that's the platform that we want to highlight them in. So it's very cool to go to MeshFest.
I actually do know about Off the Chain. I kind of perked up when I heard that. And it just sounds like you have such a great lineup. I really love the idea, especially as the Multicultural Affairs Director. And you have made an intentional effort to have a representative performance base.
Yes.
Where, you know, various people from around the community can come. You're bringing them together under the banner of MeshFest. You're providing them with a diversity of quality music. And regardless of how you identify yourself, you're coming together under this one umbrella to have a great day of entertainment and fun among some very cool people. I mean, MeshFest really sounds like it has the potential to really be a great thing here in this community.
Yes, and I'll tell you my favorite part about it is although we have these amazing bands and we'll have art, we'll have dance, we'll have food trucks, the secret of MeshFest, what makes it work is actually the audience. So we've turned the focal point around. So you've got entertainment, you've got a stage, you've got something to come and see, but it really gives the platform to represent who you are. And we don't have an artist for every culture within Huntsville, but we've got a person that represents every culture in Huntsville. So we're inviting the entire community to come out to have a place in Big Spring Park, in downtown, and to say, I'm Huntsville, here I am. And so the secret of MeshFest is really the audience and the diverse crowd that we bring together. We've got great entertainment, but it's really about the audience.
Yeah, I like the way you said that too, because if people come out, that's really the main thing. The idea that I've often talked to people that said, something's not going on in the community and I wish it was.
Right.
Really, this is a demonstration that the kinds of things that people say are not here sometimes are really here.
Yes.
And there are people who are perhaps behind the scenes sometimes working on these different projects and trying to bring them to fruition in the community. I know about a lot of these kinds of initiatives, whether it's working with various religious groups or various ethnic groups or, you know, various racial groups. You know, there are certainly things that focus on gender. There's certainly things that focus on age-related activities. This is a big family-friendly community anyway. You know, Huntsville really has a great offering of opportunities. And the really nice thing about it, too, is that I'm not sure what the mandate was for MeshFest or the legislative act that said, you know, you have to have a MeshFest. this really kind of came from some people that had an idea about what they'd like to see happen in Huntsville. And there's no limit to that. I mean, anybody can say, I want to do a festival, or I want to do a parade, or I want to do an activity. You know, we have all kind of fun runs and walks now and races and stuff. I mean, people really have an idea about what they'd like to do, and it's up to them to really kind of develop it. And I think that's a big part of what's happened with MeshFest and what's been the driving force behind MeshFest.
Yes, absolutely. Every person that we had involved in the startup of MeshFest was passionate, to say the least, excited to see something like this and have the opportunity to be part of it, and to have the support of our class, to have the support of Leadership Huntsville be behind an event that's just simply an offering to the community that says, hey, let's come together and celebrate who we are, because this is what makes Huntsville strong, has been phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal to be part of.
Yeah, so let's give the specifics again about where MeshFest will take place, when it will take place, and just generally, what can people expect to happen?
Sure. So again, it's Saturday, August 27th, Big Spring Park, downtown, from 4 p.m. till 10 p.m. So we're hoping that the heat will subside, but we're still catching you before football starts, so that you have no excuse to miss MeshFest on August 27th. We will have bands, we will have food trucks, we will have art, we will have dance, and we have a website in case you forget any of that. It is meshfesthsv.com, because again, MeshFest is really about the Huntsville community. So you can find the information about the bands, the times, sponsorship opportunities, everything you need to know about MeshFest is on meshfesthsv.com.
So one more proof that this has been a well thought out and strategic process is that you're not fighting against football season.
Right.
People haven't gotten too well embedded into that process yet. You're staying ahead of that curve, because once that starts, all bets are off for all other activities that take place, at least on Saturdays.
Yes.
That's a heavy football day here, of course. MeshFest, I'm sure, needs volunteers, and I'm sure that you would love to have people that want to just come out and help out, or before the event kind of help out, maybe some post activities that you'll have as well. And I guess people can link up with you on the website to do that as well.
Yes, there is a contact page on the website, and we've also got an email address, which is just meshfesthsv@gmail.com. But either way, they can reach the MeshFest team, and we would love to have their help.
Yeah, that's pretty cool too, because again, somebody who's thinking about, boy, what if we had some kind of cultural festival, and and what about us maybe talking about this for the next 6 to 12 months, can actually just jump right in, start helping out right now, and be a part of moving such a great initiative forward. And it's really a win-win for the community when that kind of thing happens. I'm sure you're looking forward to great weather and lots of people on this particular day. It really sounds like a very big time fun event, and I hope lots of people come out, and I know you do too.
I do. Thank you so much.
Well, let's give people again an opportunity to find out where they can get the information. Give them that website one more time, because we want to make sure they don't get lost in the process.
Sure, it's meshfesthsv.com.
All right, meshfesthsv.com, and people can get all the information they want about this great event. Well, she's Carrie Williams. She is the coordinator of MeshFest. We'll call it 2016. It's the second one. How did the first one go, by the way?
The first one was great. We had amazing bands, a little bit change up in the lineup because we want to be able to share all the activity with bands around the community, but it was great. People came out, they brought chairs, they bought food from the food trucks, they relaxed, they enjoyed, they met new people, they danced. It was a lot of fun. Yeah,
and inspired you certainly to go for it one more time. So we hope that you'll have an opportunity to do this many more times in the future. So we'll look forward to that.
Thanks.
It's MeshFest. It's coming August the 27th, and we hope that you'll take full advantage of that, that you'll go to that website at meshfesthsv.com, and you can get all the information that you need about the initiative at that time. We'll also put that information on our screen, and we'll also ask you to like our Facebook page, Impact with Kenny Anderson, where we'll have additional information about MeshFest, this video that you just saw, as well as behind-the-scenes images of the broadcast. I'm Kenny Anderson, and for Impact, I hope that you have a great rest of the day, and we'll talk to you again soon.